Good morning, PDHP parents and community. It's Carrie Ann Fitzgerald from the Program for the Development of Human Potential. I'm here today with you to kick off November. If you were taking a look at our Facebook page, you'll see we have a lot of things going on in the month of November when we talk about prevention and awareness. We have our Lung Cancer Awareness Month, our Native American Heritage Month, and we also have the Great American Smokeout going on as well this month. This has always traditionally been it, and I believe it's like the 14th year that that is going on, so that's pretty interesting. And it makes me think of when I was younger, and how smoking was so prevalent and all the things that went on in my lifetime to change that. It's really interesting to see some of the changes that have gone on in the world of prevention. So today, for PDHP parents as a resource, we are still doing our workshops for parents via Zoom with our schools. That's still available. So if there's some topics that you want, of course, you can contact your principals and let them know that you have that interest. We have a couple of different workshops. You have seen a couple of them as well. We have our Claim the Name Bullying or Bad Behavior, which had gone on last month. And thank you so much for trying that out live with me. That was pretty cool to do. This month, we will be doing our hashtag parents, social media, and your child. And this by far has been the most popular one in the past few years. The last year or two, it kind of got ran out of town a little bit with our A Mindful Student piece, which explores anxiety and different ways to use mindfulness and what mindfulness is. It's a great practice and probably things that you engage in without even realizing it. Another piece that we work on is prevention, preventive parents. So we talk about drug trends and how to talk to our kids about this topic, because that seems to create a lot of anxiety. And finally, we also have our early childhood piece, which we did in September. So if you are looking for any of those resources, they're of course here on our Facebook page. They're recorded. You could tap into those videos at any time, and they're also on YouTube. Okay, we have a PDHP Parents page as well. So resources are always available, and you can always message me if there's something particular that you're interested in. Just give me some time to get back to you. And just a reminder about PDHP, how we work. You know, we have a counselor in most of our Catholic schools in the Diocese of Brooklyn, which covers Queens as well. And our counselors work with the kids K through 12. And they bring in curriculum, and they bring in some counseling, and they bring in some group work, and they're doing a lot of this, you know, in that hybrid. Sometimes they're remote, sometimes they're there in the school, and they, alternate schools and days. But they are fantastic at what they do. They're very creative. We also have regional coordinators set for each area of Brooklyn and Queens. So we call it maybe Brooklyn West, Brooklyn East. So they're always available to cover anything that you need. And we also have a prevention education specialist, Haroldine from Queens. So she brings in some curriculum throughout a number of different schools. And the curricula that is used is really great. It aligns with a lot of the social emotional learning that as parents are looking for, character traits, skill building, positive and pro-social behaviors. So it's definitely stuff that we can get behind as parents. And I always say as a teacher, I loved having PDHP services in my building because it just changed the atmosphere. There was so much support available. So I do like to give my little spiel every now and then about PDHP itself. So I hope you'll indulge me today as I do that. But without any further ado, just talking a little bit about our focus for this month of November, I'm going to delve into our social media piece, hashtag parents. As I said, it's become more popular. Our kids are spending more time online. And also, what I have found is usually this is the month that our eyes start to set on Christmas and the Christmas gifts and things like that. And more we're looking at devices becoming part of our Christmas gifts, in some, form. So just kind of this really, kind of educative piece on how to manage that if that is going to be something that becomes part of your Christmas, because it won't just be a toy that you play with Christmas and then it's done. There's a lot more that goes on with some of these devices that we should be aware of, okay? So without further ado, let me pose a question to you. When you were the age of your child, who is perhaps closest to age 10, what was the technology that was popular at the time? So when you were the age of your child, who is closest to 10, if you have more than one child, okay, what was the technology like? What was the popular thing at that moment? It's very interesting when we hear all the different happenings in the world of technology as we were growing up, and hear what people have to say and how it changed their life. And sometimes it's very humorous. We kind of reminisce and we laugh and we go, oh my goodness, do you remember that? But even if each of you who heard this typed in something, you may see some commonality. You may see things that are very different. Sometimes I have parents who say, there was really nothing when I was growing up, you talk to each other, you get your board games out, So what was it that was there that you recall? And what did it do? Was it something that really linked your family together, or your neighborhood or your friends? Or was it something that kind of, pushed us away a little bit more? Like I said, it would be interesting to see everyone's response who hears that question. For me, I remember cable just kind of came on the market probably around the time I was my daughter's age. And I remember, you got this little box. I remember it became movie night at my house. So sometimes, and it was great in the wintertime when the kids weren't playing outside so much, sometimes my parents would invite the kids. It was like maybe a 2-block radius of the group that I ran with, all right? And we would all kind of come over to whoever's house who had the cable box and can do it for a night, and watch whatever popular movie was out. And we'd have like big things of popcorn, and we'd be all sitting around the living room, probably on my parents' shag rug. Yeah. Yeah, and the chenille couch, okay? But we were together. And it was a memory that I had of just being together with all the kids that I grew up with. And of course, the parents would do that for like an adult night or a girls' night or, whatever it was, or watching the game together. So everyone started to gather, and it was an event, and we were together. And it was exciting, and we would talk about it. So it was a really positive thing, something else for us to join as a community almost. And that's something that stands out to me a lot when I think about that question. When I do this in workshop manner, I usually have a PowerPoint. On the PowerPoint, there's a picture of a rotary phone, and it says vintage smartphone. And, everyone kind of gets a kick out of that. What is that? What does that look like? Think about what a phone looks like today, what our mind goes to when we hear that. So different. So sometimes we look at our lifetime and we see how many things have changed, evolved. And then we maybe stop and say, in an evaluative tone, do we really stop and evaluate these things? What's the positives? What's the negatives? Okay. So join me. I'll be doing these little 10-minute talks on our #parents, unless I get to see you via Zoom in your school. And we will be hashing this out a little bit more, okay? And helping each other out as we learn the digital landscape of our kids. I hope you have a great day. And I can't wait to see you back here. And I'd love to hear what you have to say about those devices and the technology of your youth. Take care.